Hey Sneha, good to have you on today's conversation of Her Story. It's a third episode, and thank you for agreeing to be part of this.
Thank you so much for having me here. Looking forward to the conversation.
You are the head of HR of Raintree Foundation. My
Yeah.
first question to you is why HR? Why did you choose HR as a career?
Um, I think this deserves an honest answer. Uh, when I was doing my postgrad, I had four options of specialization. One was finance, the other one was marketing, then there was operation, and there was HR. And HR came across as the easiest, but the last 16 years of my life have proven me wrong.
That's very true in most of our cases as well. But if you go back into your school college journey, what's the earliest memory or story that you recall that you may have felt, okay, I have this is a spark of leadership that you managed to spot. Let me throw you back in time.
Um, I would say this happened to me in my first organization. I had joined AdLabs Films Limited as a trainee, as a management trainee. So my then boss believed that as HR, we should understand all the business processes, as in the product and the services in depth. And that's why the first assignment that he gave me was to understand the post production services vertical, like each of the processes within the business, and present it. I worked on it for a couple of weeks. It was my first presentation, and I was very nervous. I was presenting in front of around 30 odd HR professionals in AdLabs back then. And I think I got a very good round of applause for the presentation. And I think that gave a very big boost to my morale. And I thought that, okay, I can do something. Until then, I was not very confident of how and where I'm going to land in my career. I think that one event was,
How important do you see the understanding of business is for HR, considering that you had that experience?
I think it's important across the entire spectrum of HR, because you will be able to plan your manpower better if you understand the processes, what people are actually going to do. And from that stage right to recruitment, you will be better at shortlisting profiles, asking relevant questions related to the profile and the prior experience or the knowledge of the individual. And then, of course, even for uh, talent management, development. So I think at every stage, it really helps you do a better job. Otherwise, you remain like a clerical admin department who's just getting profiles and passing them on to business and line managers, where you're not adding value to your role. So I think that's where it plays an important part.
You mentioned talent development. How do you focus on talent development in your organization?
It is very organization specific of what each organization is envisioning, or based on the organization goals for the next 2 years, 5 years. Let's say, for example, Raintree. Uh, Last year, we went through a talent management program where we thought we want to expand in the next 2 years. Maybe it is a 100x expansion. And how do we prepare the existing manpower to kind of shoulder that kind of responsibility? And it was also a mindset change that we needed to bring in into the employees, because um, the employees were working in a very small project in Velhe, in the Pune district. And now we were looking at expanding to a 100x larger geography. And how do you make them see big? So what we did is we did an intervention, a 6 months intervention, where we took them through um, 3 days of workshop. They went through live projects. We divided them into groups, cross-functional group, and we gave them live problem statements within the organization, which would help the organization, kind of spiral into the expansion state. And each of the group worked on these action learning projects. They were split across different functions. So there was an HR project, there was a program related project on mobilization, there was a marketing communications related project, and so on. And I think one of the outcomes of the project was we secured a Great Places to Work certification accreditation earlier this year. It was the outcome of that project because the title of the project was How Can Raintree Become a Great Place to Work by 2025? And the group who was working on that project um, thought, why not try now? Instead of waiting and planning for 2025, let's just check where we stand. And that's how we landed getting that certification from Great Places to Work. That's just one um, achievement that we had with that program. And each of them went through a personal and professional coaching journey with certified professional coaches. And I think it was a great learning journey. The impact of it, I would say, is the team is today ready to take on the expansion. What has happened is we closed down our Pune office and everybody's moved to Mumbai. And they are so bought into the vision and the expansion project that they left their lives behind in Pune, and most of them moved. Like 90% of the team moved to Mumbai. So that was a good way to kind of manage and develop talent. Um, there are similar experiences and programs that we've run in the past in different organizations. So I think talent development is very organization specific, and the plan and the program should be purely designed on what the organization is looking at achieving in the next couple of years. That's how it should be planned.
So is it about making people realize more about themselves and making them realize about the organizational goal?
I think it goes hand in hand because if as an employee, if I'm not self-aware and if I'm not invested in my own growth, I'm not going to be able to help the organization grow because the organization is also expecting me to deliver and give my best. So I think both the things go hand in hand. The organization will grow if you are investing in it, and if you're not investing in yourself, then you're not going to be able to give anything to the organization.
And you mentioned coaching. Is that something that is picking up in mid management? Are you seeing that as a trend?
Yes, absolutely. I think in the last 10 years, coaching has become an integral part of talent development. And I think it is gaining a lot of momentum now. I started coaching 10 years back. I did my training 10 years back. And back then, we were coaching people in the development sector. And I know of professionals who have been in coaching for like the last 2 decades. But yeah, I think now mid management, even junior executives are also getting an opportunity to experience coaching and the benefits of it.
You've trained yourself as a coach and you've also coached people, which means, okay. So what I pick is that you've also experimented with your career in terms of different options, right? Okay.
I I have a lot.
So how have you handled these career transitions? Because that is very tricky. What are your kind of inputs on that? How to manage career transitions, mid career or late career?
So my first transition was at Tata Strive when I joined them as an HR. And within 6 months, I moved to a role of a program lead where I was facilitating workshop and I was coaching trainers in the skill development sector. So I was actually pushed into it by my then boss. It was not something I was very comfortable with. I had a lot of stage fear. And even after like 8 years in the corporate sector, I was not very comfortable standing in front of people and giving yarn or facilitating or talking. But my then boss, he just randomly pushed me one day and said, no, okay, you're going to start. And then I had to. And then I enjoyed it. 2.5 years, I continued facilitating workshop after that. It was It was a very wonderful learning experience because I got to meet a lot of people, interact with a lot of people across India. And yes, it also built my personality. I think understanding myself and also realizing that I can learn and I can overcome my apprehensions and fears. And I think I never stopped after that. And it was fun. So I think experimenting is good as long as you have the appetite to face the consequences of taking those risks.
Okay, so you're leaving that decision to an individual depending on circumstances and situations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. And you did mention about your boss who pushed you into a certain direction. That's an interesting leadership strategy for somebody to kind of put you in a place which is not your domain. So, what is your leadership style been? How has it evolved? What is your definition of effective leadership style?
I think for me, in terms of leadership skills, you can learn all the management and the business aspect of it, the tactical things that are involved in being a leader. But if you're not good at people management, I don't think you can survive being a leader for a very long time. Um, and so I think my answer to this is going to be all about people management. And I have evolved over a period of time as a manager, as a leader. Earlier, I used to be a very soft hearted leader. But I think over the last 10 years, I have learned to flex to get the best out of people and also to push people to their limits because that is what I have gone through. And I think it helps because if you're pushing people to do better, it is in their good and it's good for you as a team leader and also as an organization. So it works both ways. And of course, being sensitive, I think having um, a good emotional quotient is very important, whether you are leading a team or whether you're leading a function or whether you're leading an organization. I think empathy is very important in today's date and time. And I think I heavily rely on that in all my interpersonal relationships with all the peers that I work with as well. So I think that is very important as a leader.
So empathy and getting people to get out of the comfort zone because, as they say, growth happens outside the comfort zone. That helps people. What have your challenges been as a woman leader? How have you overcome that?
Fortunately for me, in the last 16 years that I have been in the corporate sector, I have been surrounded by people of different genders. And I think nobody has tried to put a full stop or a comma in my growth. I've been fortunate, I would say. But for the little things that you come across in your day to day life, I think if you're good at your work, if you've done your job well, then it doesn't matter how other people are trying to pull you down. You will survive.
Yeah, stick to the basics. Since this conversation is titled Her Story, do you have any individual who have really influenced you in your career or life?
Yes. A lot actually. And it would be unfair to name just one or two. I have an aunt who got married when she was 15 and she couldn't complete her 10th back then. But throughout her life, she worked hard to support her family and her husband. And she got into the social space. Then she moved to the political space, and she got good name for herself. And she completed her 10, 12 grad, post grad after she was 60. Her story is inspiring. My first boss, she now runs an HR consulting firm, and I think her story is inspiring because she worked for 8 straight years in that organization, and then she moved on and started her own entity. And now I think it is one of the best few startups in Bombay in HR. And yeah, there's a lot of other people also. I think I take inspiration from all successful, good, unsuccessful as well, but at least those who've tried and made an attempt. So I think what I take from them is it's good to step out of your comfort zone, good to experiment. It's never too late to start in life. I think you should keep learning and just keep doing stuff, not sit idle.
We're in Mumbai. I think somewhere there is a lot of opportunity that is there, and kids who are from good colleges get campus placement in the tier 2 locations or tier 3 locations. I feel that the opportunity space is limited and they find it difficult to maybe just travel across to a metro and look for opportunity. Do you have any guidance? How do they venture out? How do they start off, especially tier 2, tier 3? Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yes, who better? Because I come from a tier 3 city. So I am from Kolhapur and I came to Bombay for my postgrad and then I got a job and continued working. The way I moved from Kolhapur to, a metro, a lot of people, I remember during my times, I think 50% of our batches would move to places like Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, for job opportunities, for higher studies and job opportunities. A lot of us also moved outside of India. I personally know of a lot of juniors from my school and colleges who are running successful businesses. So it's good to experiment with different formats. I understand that uh, employment is an issue, but if you scout, I think it's not very difficult. And um, there's remote job opportunities. There's so many apps and so many platforms that are offering you remote work. If not a full time job, there are short term consulting assignments that you can take up instead of sitting idle. So when you go for a job interview next time, you can at least say that I was doing this. You should scout. The key is to not sit idle, either learn something or do something.
That's very useful. This has been a very interesting conversation. Any kind of concluding thoughts that you have that you want to share?
Um, One thing that I would mention from a career standpoint is if there is a comma or a full stop at some point in your career, it is okay to restart where you stop. It can be overwhelming to see peers go ahead of you, but it's okay to start where you left. I don't think you should compare your journey with that of the others. That is one thing that I have learned because I went through it myself. Just keep learning and upgrading yourselves.
That's such an interesting point because I think most people who are start comparing themselves a lot with their peers and it adds to their stress. It's a very long race. There's no need to
Yeah.
look at short-term milestones to be harsh on yourself. So yeah, I think this is a great conversation and really good concluding thoughts. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really enjoyed this conversation.
It
And,
was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.